Hello and welcome to Conservative to America. I am your host, Cole Holcomb, and today we are going to be looking at the Republicans' path to winning the Senate in the election of 2024. So, right now we're seeing a lot of Democrats and a lot of Republicans saying that it's very likely that the Republicans will take the Senate. Then you have these Democrats that are like, there's no possible way. They are saying we've won it 2 years in a row. They're not going to win it. They still have the path. Well, whenever we look at this Senate map, we realize that the Democrats really don't have a path because right now it is projected with any candidate except Vivek Ramaswamy that and Ron DeSantis that the Republicans will win. With Donald Trump, they win. With Nikki Haley, they win. With Chris Christie, I mean, even Chris Christie, okay? Chris Christie, they're winning with Chris Christie, okay? Now, that's pretty good. They are, so they have a pretty good field that we're looking at right now. So if we continue to look at that, what we are seeing is that we're seeing this map across the country. So all Republicans have to do if they win the election, all they need is 50 seats if they win the presidential election. But if they win the presidential election, they're probably going to win some other states. But if they lose, even if the Republicans lose the presidential election, it's still very likely that they are going to go on and win the Senate. Because let's just look at the states that are in the Republican column safely. And let's see what that gets them. So Wyoming, Nebraska, both Nebraska seats, Missouri, Tennessee, Mississippi, Utah. As we know, in Utah, Mitt Romney announced he will not be running for re-election, so there's not going to be that big primary contest that we saw. He said it was because he was getting too old. I'm seeing it as he realized that there was not really a path for him to win. So he realized he didn't want to be primaried out. Okay, a guy who ran for president, got the Republican nomination, it does not look good whenever you get primaried out the last time you ever run for political office. These politicians want to walk off the fields with their heads held high. So that's the reason why they back out, because they have a bigger plan. They want to go out to where nobody's looking at them. They lost an election. They want to go out to where they say, I left. I left because it was the right time. It wasn't the right time. They would have stayed if they could win, but they chose to leave because they could not win. So we see in Indiana and in North Dakota, that gets them to 47. Well, we're seeing West Virginia. It was not Joe. We know that Joe Manchin, he announced that he will not be running for re-election. I think that was back in November he announced that. So what we're seeing in West Virginia is that they're probably not going, that the Democrats probably do not have a very big chance in West Virginia. Even if Joe Manchin would have still chose to run, West Virginia still probably would have gone over. Because it's because it's an election year, it's a presidential election year, Donald Trump would have carried the state by 40 points like he did in 2020, or Nikki Haley, she will carry the state by 40 points, or any Republican candidate, they're going to carry West Virginia. So even if Joe Manchin still chose to run, he was still going to lose, because you can't make up a deficit of 40 points. It's just not known anymore in modern day American politics. So West Virginia, since Joe Manchin announced that he's not going to run, they don't really have any good candidates left. I mean, that lady who ran against Shelley Moore Capito in 2020, I don't believe she's announced there, but she could be the candidate that, I don't know, maybe they don't really have a shot with her. She's really liberal. She ran against Shelley Moore Capito, got 28% of the vote. Shelley Moore Capito was the most successful Republican in 2020. Then we have the popular governor out of West Virginia, Jim Justice. It looks like he has already announced that he's going to run for U.S. Senate. He was going to beat Joe Manchin even if he did run. So, and then you have Alex Mooney, the popular congressman. So, I mean, that's really what you're seeing in West Virginia. Alex Mooney, though, he still has never been able to resonate with Democratic voters in the state, is what we've seen. He's kind of one of those people. He was originally from Maryland. In West Virginia, you finally start to see stuff from Alex Mooney that he has some problems resonating with the Democratic voters, with the Democratic base. And if you still look at West Virginia's, how they're registered voters, you find that If you still look, though, at West Virginia's registered voters, you're going to find that 45% of them are Democrats, okay? In 2020, that was the first time in West Virginia history since 1933 that they switched over to finally be in the majority of Republicans. So, I mean, that's what you're really fighting in West Virginia. They were voting Republican for so many years. Alex Weedy doesn't resonate with Republicans. He doesn't really resonate with West Virginians because he's from Maryland. Some people see him as carpetbaggers. You kind of see him how you see some other candidates. So, I mean, that's not really what you're finding in West Virginia, that they like that too much. So it looks like Jim Justice will probably be the nominee. Then the Democrats will have a problem on keeping that. They won't be able to keep it. I mean, literally, you would have to find somebody that everybody loved. I mean, you couldn't get that guy who ran against Carol Miller back in 2018, Ojeda, I think was John Ojeda or something. He was a major or something like that, I think, in the U.S. Army. But, I mean, you can't even get that anymore. So what you're going to find is that you're going to have a problem in West Virginia. You got Ben Salango ran against Jim Justice for governor. What happened with him? He lost the state. I think he got 29% of the vote. So, I mean, Democrats, they don't have a shot in West Virginia. That's a safe state. Then we go down to Florida. Florida, what happened in the last election? Well, it was the first time, I believe, since Reconstruction that Republicans won the state of Florida in double digits. They won the state of Florida in double digits. I think it was 19 percentage points, close to 20 percentage points. Since Ron DeSantis has become governor of the state of Florida, their Republican base has shifted. There were 300,000 more registered Democrats back in 2018 than what there were Republicans. Now there's over 300,000 more registered Republicans than what there are Democrats in Florida. So Florida is no longer the state that is a battleground. I mean, now it's a Republican stronghold. So Democrats are getting worried. They're losing representatives in California and in New York, and they're going down to places like Florida and Texas. And Florida's getting those conservative voters from these states. Texas is getting some of the liberals, but they're still staying conservative. They're being pretty consistent as they've been through the past 3 election cycles. So that's what you want to see. So in Florida, you could see their senator, the former governor of the state, Rick Scott, he's going to win. And then you're going to go over to Texas. So in Texas, you could say, well, do the Democrats have a shot? Yes, but not big, really. It's not even a shot at all. It's kind of like saying that Democrats have a shot at winning, I don't know, Virginia. Okay, that's like saying Democrats have a shot at. That's like saying Republicans have a shot at winning Virginia. Okay, so that's kind of how you're seeing it. Do Democrats have a shot at Texas? No. Do Republicans have a shot at Virginia? No. So that's kind of what you're looking at it. If Glenn Youngkin, either that they do have that prize candidate, there could be an upset in Virginia. I would love it if there was an upset in Virginia. But that's not going to happen. We're down on Texas right now. I got to talk about that. So anyway, whenever you start looking at Texas, what you are going to find is that in Texas, you're going to see Ted Cruz. Back in 2018, it was a bit of an iffy election cycle. Ted Cruz kind of took for granted what he had in that state, even though he still didn't have. He took for granted what he had. He said, "Oh, I'm going to win for sure." Did he win? Yes, but he didn't go after it like he should have. This election cycle, you live and you learn. He's going to learn in this election cycle. Whoever the Republican candidate is, they're going to carry Texas, which then will carry Ted Cruz over. And even though Ted Cruz is an unpopular candidate, it's presidential election year. He's going to run. He's going to win. And he will win Texas. So Texas will be a Republican state. So what do you find now? You find it's 50-28. So now we're going to go over to the Democratic safeholds. So they have Washington for sure, California, New Mexico. You're going to see places like Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont. You're going to see places like New York, and I'll give them Virginia. So even though they do have that, like I was talking about, whoopsie, I didn't mean to do that. Even though they do have that prize candidate down in Virginia, Holcomb, which he would be a good candidate if he wins, and he'd be a great senator. He's a first generation. He actually moved here from Vietnam. He was, if you watch his videos, his family was one of the last Vietnamese families to leave whenever the U.S. was finally leaving in the 70s. So Hung Cao does have that shot at winning. He is an immigrant to the United States, legal. So yeah, I think that he'd be good. So that's what you find in Virginia. Hung Cao has a shot at winning, but he's running against Tim Kaine. Do you run against Tim Kaine? Do you have a shot? Not really. So in Virginia, I'll give that to them. So it's 40 to 50. What does that mean? So if we look at all of these that are in here, let's go even. I'll even put Virginia in a toss-up. And if I do that, I'll put Texas in a toss-up. So if we do that, what do Republicans have a shot at? They have a shot at a 61 majority. What is that? A filibuster majority. Is that going to happen? I don't see it in their likelihood. So let's put these back in the Republican column. So Virginia, you're going to see that. And then you're going to see Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar. You see her. She's probably going to win. I don't really see a big shot there. Then you'll see, so now what Republicans have to do, so they're at their 50 majority. Montana and Ohio, those are the two most likely to flip. So they already flipped one into the night in West Virginia. West Virginia will probably be one of the first called states, and it'll flip to the Republican column. That's a gain for the Republicans. So you're going to see Ohio and Montana. You see Jon Tester. Is he a popular Democrat? Yes, he is a popular Democrat. But that doesn't mean that he is going to win for sure. I mean, the former senator from Florida that Rick Scott beat out, he was a popular Democrat, but he still lost. So what we see, and that was a pickup for Republicans. So what we see in Montana, that'll probably be a pickup for Jon Tester. You'll probably find that in Montana. That'll probably be a pickup, most likely. But even before that, what you're going to find is that Ohio with Sherrod Brown. The voters in Ohio, they don't really resonate much with Sherrod Brown. You see the people in Columbus and Cincinnati, they kind of turn out for him. And then that some people try to paint him, he's tried to paint himself somewhat to the Ohioan voters as a guy who is somebody who is a conservative Democrat in the Senate, but really he's really a liberal Democrat. I don't think it'll resonate with them. I mean, you find these two battleground states. They're states that Trump won by more than 8 points, okay? Trump will probably carry Montana by upwards of 20 points, okay? 20 points. He'll probably carry that anywhere from 20 to, he'll probably carry anywhere from 15 to about 25 points is what you're going to, anywhere from 15 to probably, maybe 28 points in Montana. So, what you find in Montana, they win. In Ohio, what are you going to find? They're going to win against Sherrod Brown, most likely. So it's either going to be Montana or Ohio. I think that we will probably see both flip to the Republicans. I think that Montana, I think Jon Tester has a better shot than Sherrod Brown, even though they are both very liberal candidates. So, right now, what is it? It's 52 to 41. All of these are Democratic-held states. So this is really what you're going to find. You're going to find Michigan. It will flip. It has a shot at flipping. Debbie Stabenow has already announced that she will not be running for re-election. The Republicans, what they have to do is that they have to nominate a candidate that can win. Yeah, so in Michigan, you have to be lenient on abortion. You can't really go after that as strong. Same thing with all the rest of these states. And even in Ohio, I think you could go a little bit stronger in Montana, but still I wouldn't go for it. But in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona, you don't want to go after abortion that strong, because if you do, you might not win it. So what are you going to find? In Michigan, Debbie Stabenow, I could see the Republicans picking that up. Out of all of these, I think it would be Arizona, Nevada. I think out of all the Midwest states, Michigan and Wisconsin are probably tied, because Wisconsin, you're running against Tammy Baldwin, who is an incumbent. What Republicans have to do is that you have to nominate somebody without a lot of skeletons in their closet. So in Wisconsin, you're going to find somebody, you could see that flipping. That gets them at 53. You could see Michigan flipping. That gets them at 54. I do not see Pennsylvania flipping. You could see them flipping Nevada. I think that it's more likely that they'll hold on to Nevada. And I could see them flipping Arizona because Carrie Lake. What you'll see is that it'll be Carrie Lake versus Kirsten Sinema, who will be running as independent. Then the Democrats will nominate their person. So what you will find in Arizona is that Carrie Lake, all she has to do is she has to get those Trump voters. She has to get all the Republican voters to rally behind her. Once she secures that, Kirsten Sinema and all the Democratic voters will be split up. So what does that do? That gives Republicans the state of Arizona. So what you find is you're going to find 56 to 42. That is really what we could be looking at. Oh yeah, for 56. Okay, and then Hawaii. I missed Hawaii for some reason. Okay. And so what you could find is 45 to 55. This would be an amazing set out for Republic. Wait. 45 to 56. I'd say that you're more or less in a 47-53 kind of range. But, I mean, this would be a great setup for Republicans. Now, let me show you if they did really good. You could get Pennsylvania. You could get Virginia. You could get Minnesota. And then, wait a minute. You could get Minnesota. And then you'd have to find another way. You'd have to get Maine, or you'd have to be able to flip New Mexico or Washington or New Jersey. So really what you're looking at is that there is that 59. I'd say that's probably the cap for Republicans. But I don't see that really in the likelihood. I see this kind of like the best case scenario map for Republicans. And then that worst case scenario is probably about a 50. Majority, maybe 49 if you were able to flip Texas, but I don't see that likely. So, with all that being said, I'm Cole Holcomb, the host of Conservative to America. Thanks for watching.